Hello, hi, welcome or welcome back. It's Brittany with Scarlett's House, and this one is full of stripes. So let's get started right now. I went with a 20-ounce skinny straight from Craft Haven with this one. A skinny straight is going to be the best with how you're going to lay your vinyl, but choose whatever style you would like. I chose to glitter and epoxy and then lay my vinyl for this one, and I'm going in with Pine Needle from Pop of Color by Counterculture. You can also lay your vinyl and then glitter it. You know, my way is not always the right way. There is no right way. It's whatever way you would like to do and whatever way works for you. I'm just here to show you my way, okay? So now that that fabulous green is laid down, I'm going to go ahead and lay my glitter with some glitter glue by Adhesive Apothecary. You can also lay your glitter down by using the epoxy method. Once again, my way's not always the right way. It's whatever way you choose to do. So go ahead and get your glitter on whichever way you would like. I'm using the glitter glue. You can also use some Mod Podge, whatever you want. Just get your glitter on your cup, okay? Get that glitter on, let it dry. Do a second coat if you needed a second coat. After I get my first layer on here, I didn't need a second coat, so the first coat was fine, but get your first layer on. This one was I don't think it was a mini chunky, maybe it was a mini chunky, I think, so after I get it all on, I just lightly roll it in some parchment paper to lay it all smooth for its first coat of epoxy, which it obviously stopped recording for that step. But now I'm going in to seal my glitter so it doesn't give me too much movement or anything when I do go into epoxy it. This step I don't think is like super necessary, but I just like to do it just to be safe. You can also just go ahead and just take it outside and spray seal it with some clear spray paint. I just cannot stand spray paint. I literally hate the smell of it, so I just try to avoid it like I do my laundry. So I'm going to take my Adhesive Apothecary again, or Mod Podge, or whatever you use, and just go give it a nice thin coat and seal that, let it dry completely, and then we'll go ahead and go in with our first coat of epoxy. Okay, so for my first coats, I like to do two pretty much like thinner coats versus one thicker coat, because a thicker coat could give you like, I don't know, like foggy, chunkier spots, if that makes sense. So I like to do thinner coats, especially since I use Mr. Nolas epoxy. Theirs is a thicker viscosity epoxy, so you use smaller amounts anyways because it is a thicker epoxy, and it will level itself out. And if you use a different brand that's a thicker viscosity, thinner coats are better. So keep that in mind, and especially if you're using it over like a raw glitter like this, just thinner coats twice is better than one thicker coat. You're going to get a much clearer, much more even coverage. But obviously read the directions for the epoxy you're using and follow that. And then I'm just going to hit it with my torch and pop any bubbles if needed, and then we're going to move on. Okay, so here I have my cup, and I'm just going to find the center of my cup because I have two triangles for my vinyl, and I want them to be centered in the middle for when I lay them on. So you'll see me. I want my points to be in the center, and I took a line and drew it on the side so that way I can have it going straight so it's not tilted either. So this is just how my brain was working for this. I was like, okay, draw my line how I usually do it for my vinyl wraps, and then make sure my point on the other side is in the middle too. So then I'm just going to take it like a regular vinyl wrap and cut it and make sure that's straight to be lined up, and wrap it like you do a regular vinyl wrap. And then we fold our tops in the bottom, and then I still trim that off on the top like you do any other vinyl wrap. And then I do take my edging tool and cut the bottom off and pop any bubbles if you do get any. I did get a couple, so I'm just going to go ahead and pop those, and then we're going to go ahead and do the other side. I'm trimming it the same way, and we're going to get it ready to lay on. And here's where I want to just try to lay up my pattern to be meeting the seams as good as possible. This was kind of tricky, but my seam wasn't as crazy that I needed to match it up perfectly, but you know, I did my best. So I tried to lay it on as best as I could to match up, and then I just stuck it on there. So I don't know, this is the way I did it. So I just laid it up as best as I could and placed it on. I did get this vinyl from the Vinyl Cottage, and if you have a good vinyl like this one, if you mess up, you can pull it off and place it down again. So don't worry about that. It's not like the first time you put it on, that's one and done. You can peel it up carefully and place it down again. And then same thing, just go ahead and wrap it right around with your fingers or your squeegee like I am, and go ahead and lay it right over that other piece. And oh yeah, this is where I just trimmed off my edges. So you can trim it off before, trim it off after. This is where I edged off my top and my bottom. Getting ahead of myself, trying to deliver information too early. Now we're going right into the next part. No epoxy or anything yet. We're still just right from the vinyl, right into the striping. So you can go ahead and cut some vinyl striping out of, vinyl, whatever you want, or you can get some striping tape here. This one, I don't know, I probably got it from PDB, or you can get it from Foilz and Flakez. They have an awesome amount of colors that you can get from them. So this is where you can just do whatever you want. Literally stripe the whole entire thing. I could have probably striped the whole cup if I didn't stop myself. So this is where you just play and let your mind take you wherever it wants and stripe it away. So I start with the edges of my cup first, not the edges of my cup, the edges of my vinyl first, and go with that edge and kind of like form that little, diamond shape, square shape thing in the middle there. And then I build off from there. So something that helps me give me like the good striping that I think looks good is I go back and forth from each side. So I do the left side of my stripe, then I go to the right side and go back and forth, and that gives you that nice overlaying striping effect. And I switch up between like 2 different sizes and 2 different colors on this cup. You can do whatever colors and sizes that you want, but I did the thicker gold one first, and then I went in with this thinner, like opal-y color next. And I just had no plan with how I was actually going to stripe this cup. I just started laying the first stripe down, and then I went in with another one, and then just kind of like saw how it was coming together and like decided where I was going to like do another line next, and just kept going and building from there. Another thing that I did is before I moved on from each section, like before I finished each full section, like I did that whole gold outline, then I did that whole opal outline. So before I moved on from this whole opal outline, I trimmed my little edges, like where they meet and connect, like where you go and like trim your edges of your vinyl, like on the cup. I don't even know if that makes sense. Like where they overlap, like I went ahead and trimmed my edges so I'm not trimming all those little pieces at the end. Like I'm trying to keep it as clean and neat as possible as I'm working. So I'm laying it down, going side to side, and trimming my little pieces as I go. And here's a glance at it after I'm done with all the striping. I finally had to stop myself because I probably could have kept going, honestly. But I mean, I had to throw some in there with that vinyl too. And I like kind of just connected it to like where the vinyl met as like a V in the back there. So, and I added some really thin little ones there over that green glitter. And then I was like, okay, there's a blank spot still at the bottom or at the back there where the vinyl is. So I think I'm gonna just put a decal on there, which I just found that you'll see me here do next. So I didn't think about adding my decal on the back until after I epoxied it all and stuff. So this is why I'm moving into the quick coat before I did the decal. So if you already have in mind that you want to put a decal on it, go ahead and slap that decal on there before you add your next layer of epoxy and everything and save yourself a step. But I didn't know I wanted to put that decal on yet. So I'm just going ahead and putting on my quick coat over my vinyl to seal that all in to get ready for my epoxy. Make sure you rub it in really nice around all of those vinyl lines to seal that all in so we don't get any lifting in our epoxy. Okay, after your quick coat is dry, make sure you go ahead and epoxy it until smooth and let that dry. And now we're gonna go in with our decal. I just found this on Creative Fabrica and I cut it out on my Tech Wrap textured gold vinyl, and then I offset it on a metallic blue vinyl that I believe I got from Banff. Tech Wrap has some metallic colors too, so you can really find it anywhere. And this is just like how I like to lay my vinyls together. So I like to put the bottom one down on a piece of tape so it stays in place, and then the top one on a piece of parchment paper so it holds it down for me. And then I take my transfer paper with the top one like you see me doing, with the parchment paper in between, and that way I see where it's lined up straight, pull the parchment paper out, the other one's on the bottom with some tape so it stays in place, and then I go ahead and flatten it down. And I wanted my words spaced a little bit farther apart, so I just went ahead and cut them, and I'm just laying them all on separately. So I'm just putting the top one on first, and then you'll see me put the other ones on next. So I laid that one down, and then I lost my L. Well, I didn't lose it, it just fell off, but that doesn't matter. We're placing them all down separately. So go ahead and place your decal however you want, but this is just how I did it. And it looks fun in the end. And honestly, I don't even know how the L was. I don't know if it's top or bottom, but this is just how I placed it. I honestly don't know if it's backwards, but whatever, it looks fine to me. So here it is. Let me know what you think. Do you think it's upside down, or do you think it's like right? I don't know. I went with it though, because that's what looked right to me. And then you already know what to do with your quick coat and your final layer of epoxy to get your final result. Here's mine. Let me know what you think. I'm pretty happy with it. I think I'll try another one with some different variations, and I don't know, more striping, less striping. Let me know what you think. Yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you next time.